Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Season 8 Episode 12, Death in Heaven. Now, the opening scene is of Clara having a Cyberman creeping up on her, and then she notices the Cyberman, and off the top of her head she claims to be the Doctor, so the Cyberman can't kill her, and the Cyberman's like, no, you're Clara, and it's like, no, I'm the Doctor. That was, she did this in a previous episode. I hated it then, I hate it now, but it gets worse. It's very subtle, but still terrible. They then play the credits, and in place of Peter Capaldi's eyes, you get Clara's eyes. Seriously, you're gonna replace Capaldi's eyes with... Come on! That just sucks. It was... Even if the story turned out that she was the Doctor and not just saying she's the Doctor, that'd be bad enough. That'd be extremely terrible at that point as well. But just changing the eyes would be bad enough. But the fact she's just saying she's the Doctor and have changed her eyes, it's just no. No, 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 no. Now, jumping ahead quite a bit, we get to the part where the Doctor is told that in this situation, he is being declared the President of Earth. Here's the problem with that. I know they did it as a joke bit further on, but in that situation they do everything the Doctor says anyways. It was kind of a bit unnecessary. Why would they need to make him president? That's just... yeah. But the only good part of this was definitely when the Doctor went down to see Missy and the intercoms asks for the president, and the Doctor turns around and says, you've always wanted to control the universe, and then replies with, I'm coming, and then that I liked. But still, that was the only bit I liked about it. It wasn't exactly extremely terrible, it's more of a nitpick this, but I don't think it was necessary making him President of Earth. Then as he walks away, he turns to the slight fangirl character and just says all of time and space, as in hinting that he's offering her a place on the TARDIS. Could that not wait an episode? Because the place that they did it means clearly she's gonna die. If they waited an episode, Clara's not in the picture, so she could be the new assistant. I think she would make a very good assistant, especially after the fiasco of Clara. But yeah, I know if she was on the TARDIS as an assistant, there would be lots of naysayers saying that she's only there because she is a fangirl of the Doctor. She with the bow tie. I could see if she went on the TARDIS that every other episode she'd be like wearing a long scarf, or the fur coat of the second Doctor, or lots of little things like that, and it would get too much. But if they then played her down, kind of like Donna, where she entered and she was very over the top, but then they played her down a bit as the season went on and you really started feeling for her. If they did the same thing with her, it could be quite clever and it could work. But it's too late now, because clearly she's dead. But her death scene did kind of annoy me a little bit, because yeah, the Missy was clever, but and the way she was playing with her and she'd escaped, all of that stuff, brilliant. But it was the guards in the background. They're there looking, making sure Missy doesn't do anything. Then Missy steps off of the thing she's strapped to, and they did nothing. They just literally stood there. They took a step forward as Missy shot them. That was it. So they are brilliant guards looking after our planet. Yay! Don't get me wrong, I was expecting them to be completely useless, but I was expecting them that as she stepped off them to at least grab their guns and get ready to shoot position, and then she turns around and shoots them instead. That would work, but just standing there, just like, oh, she's getting off, okay. Oh no, she's going to shoot us, let's go and take a step forward, and then get shot. That's just... wow. Great directing. Yes, and I'm blaming the director and not Moffat for that one. But just to touch on it, I did like the painting of the Brigadier in the office room. I thought that was a very nice touch. Next, something I can understand why some people would find irritating, but me personally I liked, was how Missy kept switching between Scottish and English accents. I thought this made her sound extra crazy, so I liked it, but I can understand how that would be distracting for some people. Now, moving on a bit after the Doctor's stunt with the TARDIS falling out the aeroplane and they're in the graveyard, I did think it was a bit cheap, the Missy entrance, where it was kind of the Mary Poppins bit. Yes, she's kind of dressed like Mary Poppins, but that's just because she's in a period clothes. And just because she was dressed as similar to Mary Poppins, was it really necessary? And as it continues, Missy gives the army of the Cybermen to the Doctor, explaining everything the Doctor could do with this army. And one of the things she said was help the people trapped in the Dalek camps. Daleks will kick the ass of every single Cyberman you have. Daleks will not be beaten by a Cyberman. This was not just me saying this. This has been proven by the season 2 finale, where one of the greatest lines in history, if not just in Doctor Who history, in history, was, "You expect to destroy the Cybermen army with 4 Daleks. We would destroy the Cybermen army with 1 Dalek," and I damn well believe it as well. But yeah, that was just a silly little throwaway line, but I am sorry, I couldn't let that one slide. And as it goes on, we find out that love isn't actually an emotion, it's a promise. Now, I can understand the logic behind this. Ignoring the fact that, yes, I guess it is a promise, but it's a promise that's powered by emotion. So let's just, for argument's sake, forget that for now. Why is it only 2 Cybermen can fight their programming and protect the ones they love? Seriously, no one else in that graveyard had anyone they loved. No one loved them. No one they wanted to protect. And that's just one graveyard. This apparently was happening all over the planet. So only the love of Clara and of the Brigadier was powerful enough to break it. Why? Which it turns out the Brigadier saved his daughter. It wasn't predictable that the Brigadier was going to do it, but it was predictable that she was going to survive. But here's a thing that I wasn't too sure about. When they killed Missy, it appeared as though they actually killed her, and it wasn't like the last time, sorry, not last time, the time before that, when with the ring thing, that was obvious that he was coming back. But this time it appeared that she actually died, but I think she actually teleported. Even if the plan was that she did die, I believe that it's going to be explained away that she teleported instead. I wasn't too sure about this, it was actually my wife's theory, but as I watched it again, it could work. But they could do something else and resurrect her again. Which reminds me, a lot of people I noticed have asked questions on other sites. How many regenerations does the Master have left? The answer to this is, when the very first Master appeared, he was on his last life. Then, as he supposedly regenerated through the series, he didn't actually regenerate. He was stealing other people's bodies. All the way up until the Doctor Who movie, where he stole the body, and then as the new Master came in, the one from the Tennant series, it was explained that in the Time War they needed soldiers, so they resurrected the Master because they thought he would make a good soldier. What that line of logic was, I have no idea, because he's sided with the Daleks on occasion, but I don't know. He was then resurrected, and then we can only assume that he then develops a new regeneration cycle from that, as he has regenerated on screen. So, at least 3. There's been at least 3 faces of the Master. Of course he could regenerate off screen as well in a completely different face. They can throw them in there like they did the War Doctor, but that's the answer. 3, if not more. But then the Doctor, after realising the Cybermen that saved the Brigadier's daughter, I can't remember her name, was actually the Brigadier, and the salute I thought was a nice touch, because I don't see that so much as saluting the Cybermen. I believe it's kind of looking deeper into it. It's more of a salute to Nicholas Courtney, the guy who played the Brigadier, and I liked this touch an awful lot. Now, moving on, we get to the scene with the like glowing door sort of thing, or a vortex, or with the voice of Danny coming out, and Clara turns up and says about how he can come through, and when this happened I was like, oh god, really? Everyone has to have a happy ending. But then Danny said there's only enough for one person. Then he sends out the boy, which was a bit cheesy. I prefer the boy coming out to Danny coming out, but I personally would have just cut this scene, and people die. And when they die, they don't come back. That's just what happens. Just leave it at that. Then we come to the scene in the cafe, and it's revealed that, well, the doctor tells Clara he's found Gallifrey where this isn't true. Same as Clara lets on, he doesn't actually say it, but Danny's come through and they're going to be happy together, and that's just them two splitting parts where I'm still kind of getting all giddy and excited because I don't like Clara, as you have probably guessed. I can't wait for the next assistant. Goodbye, Clara. I don't necessarily blame the actress, I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, but the character just did not work for me. But back to the scene in the cafe, and then it cuts to a scene with the doctor goes to the coordinates that Missy told him was where Gallifrey was, and I can't help but have the feeling that Missy was telling the truth, and there's a knack to finding Gallifrey, like there's a portal or something, and that you can't just go there and there it is. To me, Missy didn't seem like she was lying. There was no real reason to. I suppose it's to get one over on a doctor, but she could have just said we could find Gallifrey together, but I don't think Missy was lying. Then as the doctor leaves and the credits start coming up, the credits all of a sudden stop and Santa Claus appears on the TARDIS. Now, I know what they did with Robin Hood, and I'm trying to put this delicately in case there's any kids listening, but I don't think that will work with Santa Claus. That being said, I believe this isn't Santa Claus. I believe this is this guy dressed up as Santa, kind of like they did with the Titanic and the Orient Express. But I also think there was a bit too much sort of dialogue, if that makes sense. I know it was done to death in the Tennant era, but I loved the Watts. It just tells you exactly what you're thinking. If he just walked through the door and just stood there in his big Santa Claus and the doctor was like, what? I know he's not Tennant and that was Tennant's thing, but it would have been nice. But anyway, I like this episode. There was some problems with it, but overall, for a season finale, which is a higher level than everything else, I think I will give this a 7 out of 10. Bring back Missy. Bringing back the Master would be nice, but I want the character of Missy as well. Just give us another couple of adventures. I'm not saying overdo her, like they used to back in the day with the Master, but just a couple more, I think. But after all said and done, I hope you've liked this review. If you have, please like, favourite, share and subscribe. And let me know what you think in the comments. I am the Food. Thanks for listening.